Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do a tag today. I got tagged in the Hopeful Book tag. I was tagged by Frankie Reeds. I'll have her video linked down below. But this was created by Rhea at the Book Finch. I will have her video down as well. And I did see Rhea put it up, and I really liked it. I just hadn't thought about the questions, and then I got tagged. And of course, it takes me a couple weeks to think about all the things I want to do and then get a time to film. So anyway, so I'm a couple weeks late, but here we go. I have a tag. So I have the questions down below, and if you want to do this, I would say do this because this is a fun one. So question number 1 is a book world you would like to escape to. Now, this was really hard for me because, admittedly, most of the books I read are either historical fiction, which is not, it's our world just in the past, or they're really fantastical worlds and then they're dangerous. So I went with Otherland by Tad Williams. And again, I went with this because even though this was written, I believe in the 90s, and it's like computer gaming, yeah, 90, right? Yeah, 96. So, but I love the worlds within these worlds. So this computer game is just fantastical. I would say it's way beyond, I mean, not that I read Ready Player One, but you know what I mean? Like, this was so much better and so in-depth, to me at least, of the stuff that I've heard. But bad. Anyway, but the world in here, even though it's super dangerous and super crazy, I just love the world as in the different parts of it. I mean, there's even Oz in there for a little bit. It's just so realistic, you know, virtual reality that I think it's really cool. So it's not, I don't know how to explain this. Like, so I picked this world because it's just cool because you can escape it afterwards. Does that work? I think it works. And of course it's Tad Williams, so what the heck. And then question number 2 is a romance that left you all mushy inside. So I don't think this is going to be any surprise that I pick a Nillingi Singh book. And my favorite of all her books is Branded by Fire. In her Side Changeling series, I think it's book 6, yeah. So it's book 6, and it follows some of my favorite characters. I mean, they are my favorite characters, at least. And so, and again, this romance is just fun because it's, I mean, you have to understand it's the whole shapeshifter world kind of thing. So they're both shifters of different animals, but they are both very dominant. And so what I liked about this story is she's very dominant, he's very dominant in different ways. And the compromises they have to make when they have this relationship and being from 2 different clans kind of thing. So I really enjoyed this book again, and the romance is one of my favorites. And because this series is like 17 books long, they're 17 or 18 books long, you get to see them later in later books, and I just love this book. It's my favorite. It makes me all mushy inside. Question number 3 is a friendship we should all aspire to have. So this is bad because this is another Nillingi Singh book, but it's another series. But I love the friendship that is in the 2 books of her Rock Kiss series. I mean, I like a lot of the female friendships in a lot of the books in her books overall. But the one in Rock Addiction and Rock Hard, the 2 books are kind of companion-ish. They're kind of going at the same time with the two couples. And I loved the way that their friendship was because they had it rooted in tragedy. And so they had, it was, you know, they had their hard childhoods and then, you know, or into their teens and 20s. And then now they're later in life, they're still really close, even though they're both going their different directions and stuff. And of course, having their love interests. And I just loved the way their banter back and forth and how they couldn't really bullshit each other because they knew each other so well. And I don't know, I still, it's one of my favorite friendships in books. And then number 4 is Intermission. So, here are my kittens, Truman and Cooper. This is when they're sleeping. This is the only picture I could get to download, but hey, kittens. Anyway, so those are my cute kitties. And you'll see them or hear me yell at them all through my videos. Question number 5. A character in a leadership role that inspires you. So this was really hard. So I read a lot of fantasy and I read a lot of stuff, and I'm thinking about, you know, like what was be like in a leadership. And of course, I would say, so I came up with 2. I mean, maybe I'm not supposed to come up with more than 1, but whatever, I did 2. So I picked Aragorn from The Lord of the Rings because I loved his journey throughout, from going from just, you know, being there and then being pretty much, you know, the king. So, but sorry, spoiler. Sorry, I didn't think about that. Anyway, so the point is that I like the way that the decisions he makes through it. And it's been a long time since I read the whole book. It has been a little bit. I might want to do a reread, but I still think he's, like I just said, I liked him, like Aspire. I like the way he's very humble about it. I guess I think that's the part I liked. But he's really action oriented in the movies and in the book too. But you know what I mean? Like, it's like he's, I just liked that. And then the other one I picked was Sam Vines from Terry Pratchett's and, from the Discworld series. I always liked Vines because he is so everyman in that kind of, and the things he has to put up with. And I think it's I don't know how to say if that inspires me, but I think it's realistic to the point where, but you just feel for him because the stuff he has to go through and all this stuff he has to do. And I just love the books that are the guards. They're the favorite one of the, you know, the different sections of Discworld. The guards are always been my favorite, like from the beginning. And Vines is, oh, the things he has to put up with. It's just, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's not leadership. He's the, you know, he leads the guards. I don't know. Maybe I'm not thinking about this the correct way, but both of those are my picks. Sorry, that's best I can do on them. And then number 6 is to recommend 3 books that fill you with hope. So again, I picked books that all, I guess they're more on the romantic side in some ways, but they all have, well, some of them have action in them too. So they're stories that I read for when I don't, like when I don't want to read some, like again, as I said, I reread a lot of books. And these are some of the books that I've reread many times over the years because I have a good feeling every time I read them. There's just enough action and stuff. And even though I know what's going to happen, I still like the way it all goes. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Solace by Gail Carriger. This is the first book in the Parasol Protectorate. And I love this book. I've read this so many times. It's just a great steampunk, Victorian times where shapeshifters and or werewolves and vampires are every day, and poor Alexia does not have a soul. so she has her own issues. So, and I just love it because it's a spinster and she's, you know, kind of misunderstood, and but there's all this stuff going on, all this action and stuff. I just love this book. Anyway, as I said, the whole series is fun, but again, I loved the first book. The other book I picked is The Madness of Lord Ian McKenzie by Jennifer Ashley. This is, again, a historical romance, but I love this book, even though it has all the lords and that kind of, and a lot of she's that way. I love the way this book is put together of, how the woman Beth meets Ian, and how they start, like, she's, you know, attracted to him right away, but there's something odd about him because I think it's a really good representation of someone with autism or something. So I think it's, I mean, at least to me, I don't know if that's for sure true, but I love this book because there is a mystery element. There's something going on that happened in his past, and she kind of gets caught up in it. And of course, there's the whole romance thing, which I just love. Anyway, this is, as I said, one of my favorite books. And then the last one is a book that I read like every year. And that is The India Fan by Victoria Holt. So I've been reading this since I was a teenager. And I think I just love this book because there's the history, because it takes place right before like uprisings in India. So she's you know, a young girl who lives in the country who's, you know, near the Lord's estate that lives by. So she's forced to play with the daughter because they're close in age, and it's kind of her life tied up with that family. And I just love the way that this progresses, like from they do the whole childhood to teenage years to, you know, finishing school and the things that go wrong there, and then she comes back and she's asked to go out to India to be with that woman who was the girl that she hung out with when she was little. So I really love this book. Of course, there's a romance in it, but it's not typical. Like, I think it, you know, again, it's very subtle in a lot of ways. I just, very light, but I love it. It's like one of my favorites, like, because there's the misunderstanding, but it's you know, it's ones you like, how do you explain? You can't. I don't know. I love this book. It's just one of my favorites. As I said, that makes me feel good. Anyway, number 7 is to tag people, if, you know, optional. I just say, if you guys want to do this, do this. I don't want to force anybody to do this. I had a lot of fun. It was hard picking some of these books, but again, it's always that whole looking at your books going, well, which ones do I want to talk about? So I know I kind of, this one to me was a much more romance, like, focused one for me, even though not all of them, but I meant, the questions pulled that out of me. So, you know, as I said, I do read a lot of different kind of books, and I have read a lot, so I don't know. Anyway, I hope that was interesting. So you guys should check out the 2 videos from, of course, the Book Finch and Frankie Reads, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.